Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Here basically the topic is 23rd number. So one of the person basically told here, yeah, 150 basically when land was divided basically. That time basically what basically was the setting basically was done in the Earth planet. So the experts basically started telling the stuff basically. One person told that basically, yeah, Sunil, basically you can't imagine basically the total birth basically which is going to happen in this Earth planet basically. That was also decided by that 150 divided land basically. So one of the person told up to that level basically the planning are done basically. So one of the person told the up to this level basically the planning is done right basically. That assume that basically around just taking a rough example, around 5 crore not 5 crore basically around 20,000 crore population basically is going to be get birth basically in Earth planet until basically the Earth planet exists. After that basically the birth will never going to happen. That means the Earth planet life basically was settled basically. So one of the person told that, yeah, 20,000 crore basically, just taking a rough example, not a, it's not a real example, number is not real, but the database, what the concept basically which I am telling that basically is 98% correct. So one of the person told that 20,000 crore basically is going to be the population basically. When 150 basically land was divided, that time basically the India land basically population basically what might be the population, assume that basically the population might be the until basically the land Earth planet exists, that time basically the 5,000 crore basically was the population, will be the population basically. After that basically the Earth planet in India land basically the birth will not happen. That basically is the generation end of India land basically. So one of the person told that this was the number basically which was given to the India land basically. So whatever birth basically is going to happen in this India land, that count will not go beyond the 5,000 crore. Why? Because when 150 land basically was divided, that time only basically the 20,000 crore population basically was settled, and in this basically here basically we have taken 5,000 crore basically is the India population basically, the maximum population will be this. In this basically the things basically are so dangerous basically that within 5,000 divided 5,000 population basically the land the data also basically was divided. That after this particular birth basically, that is assume that basically after around 1,000 crore birth basically, sorry, 200 crore birth basically, the first time basically the India land will get end. Like this after 100 crore basically the second time basically the India land will get end. So after this particular 100 crore basically means what? After this particular birth basically the India land will end start basically. So one of the person told that up to this level basically the stuff basically are created. So one of the person told that whose birth is going to be into the next generation, whose birth basically is not going to be next generation. That was divided basically when 150 crore, sorry, 150 parts of land basically was divided. So Sunil or NAIR basically next generation has not started because marriage not happened, no job basically. So one of the person told that this might be the reason basically. Due to that basically still basically Sunil or NAIR basically the marriage is not happening, job basically is not getting happening. So one of the person told that the 150 land basically when it was divided basically, that time assume that basically 1 crore 1 crore planet basically was used to divide that land. On the basis of that divide land basically of the India, basically I am talking only about India. That time basically the which kind of population is going to come. Sunil or Nair basically is going to take birth when Sunil or Nair basically next generation basically second marriage, and then basically the job he is going to get. This all basically was settled that time only basically. If second marriage is not there, and then basically the Sunil or Nair end is there basically, then the universe end basically. So one of the person told that if second and basically marriage basically was not written that time basically, then the second marriage will not happen. So world basically will go without basically the second Sunil Arna and next generation. If second marriage basically is that time basically it's written from the second marriage, then basically the second marriage will 100% basically going to. If it's not written, then basically it will not happen basically. So one of the person told that universe basically never might have thought that basically universe also can be end basically on the base of this all population basically. If they might have created the earth planet basically, they might have tracked everything basically. So they basically might have thought that basically universe also basically can end from the earth planet creation. They also basically 100% might have thought na basically. That's why basically when the earth planet basically gets end na basically, that time only basically they do the merging of the entire creation basically. That's why basically they never merge the entire creation basically until basically the earth planet will not end. That means earth planet will end, because if they want to do the integration, that means earth planet 100% basically they are going to end universe group basically. So that basically is different topic basically. So here again basically we will come to that 150 land basically which is divided. In that basically the 1 crore basically was the planet basically who basically was used to divide this land basically, that is the India land. In that India land only basically the Indian population basically were also settled. So one of the person told us, Sunil, basically your creation, your basically the cry basically which is happening, that is basically connected up to this level basically. So how basically you can change this basically? So one of the satellite group told that yeah, basically if you are changing, you are still basically getting cry basically due to India land basically. That basically need to check basically, because if we are changing this everything basically, then that means 30 crore 40 crore creation basically will also get effect basically. That is the 30 crore 40 crore year, from 30 crore 40 crore basically the earth planet is basically creating the planets, that all basically will get changed basically, if this will get changed. So one of the first satellite basically told that basically if we are changing a single thing basically, it affects to 30 crore 40 crore creations. So one of the NASA group, ISRO group basically watched this video, and they told that basically यार ये तो 30 करोड़ तक पहुंच गया. The group basically who divided the land and basically earth planet basically the India land basically given cry to Sunil Arnair basically. India land basically given cry to Sunil Arnair. So one of the person told that India land basically might have given cry. Why? Because that time basically when the land was divided, that time only basically they might have settled basically. So here basically we can't blame the Indian population basically, because it was written only basically that time basically. So one of the person told them, Sunni, what is the solution of this basically? How basically your marriage will set, and your second generation, your basically the marriage will start the next generation. In next video basically we are going to see that.